We keep things moving. We keep things flexible. We keep things growing. We keep things developing. We keep things safe. We keep things connected, protected, in line, on time, and online. We keep things social. We keep things interesting. Sometimes maybe too interesting. We keep things simple. We keep things steady. We provide you with the right IT solution at the right time, at the right price, with one purpose: to keep things moving.
Hello and welcome to Connected. Sorry about the small delay, but we are live and we have some great content for you today. We've done this for 3 months now and have a lot of amazing experts have talked about so many different topics. If you go to dustin.se/connected, you can read up all about what we've talked about earlier and check out those episodes as well after you've seen this one. This is probably going to be my favorite. This is a topic that I really think is so interesting and is something we need to talk more about. Today we have Dell Technologies on the line. And as you saw in the beginning, we were going to talk to Mats and Craig. Sadly, Craig can't join us, but Mats is here. And Mats Jensen is the Client Solution Director at Dell Technologies. Welcome to Connected, Mats.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, Gordon. Really looking forward to
It's a pleasure to have you here. Like, the first thing I want to ask you, not answer, is of course, who are you? What do you do?
Oh, excellent question, I would say. I have the pleasure to look after what we call the Client Solutions organization in Sweden, and I also look after and work with the Norwegian teams. So you can say like this, I run the P&L, the profit and loss for those countries, and then in my team I have the product specialist. If you're talking like workstation or rugged or volume products or displays, they sit in my organization. So I'm supporting the whole sales organization from a thought leadership perspective. So that's a little bit what I do.
So you're the one that has the wide perspective of everything then.
Yeah, the generalist guy.
The generalist. Perfect. Because then you will have all the answers we're looking for today. Because we've gone through quite a big change in the world recently. And not going into the very sad parts and instead focusing on technology-wise, which has there's been a huge leap forward. What's your thoughts on what has happened the last couple of months?
No, I echo what you said there, Gordon. So let's spend the time today on what really new cool thing that has happened. And I also think we have seen a paradigm shift really from how we work. And I think many people are today also waiting for, of course, coming back to offices. But I think we have found a new normal. I think we have been able by technology to work in a completely different way that has been exploding. And we have all from Dell or Dustin or many other technology vendors talked about the digital transformation like a buzzword. And then suddenly, by this unfortunate situation globally, it just happened. So I think it's really exciting what comes out of it, and also reflect about what technology can do for people and also improve the work-life balance. There's so many cool things we can talk about today, Gordon.
Oh, absolutely. You talked about the digital transformation, and that is, as you said, a buzzword we've been talking about for so long, we in the industry here. And how big of a leap do you believe we've done now in these, say, 3 months period? Most happened the first month, but how long would you think that would have taken if we didn't have this crisis.
Yeah, I think we have been talking about, the digital transformation for the last 3 years. When I have attended your great events and when we have had ours, we have been talking to this, and we have talked about as a gender thing or that type of thing, and millennials, all of that. So I think at least 3 to 4 years has been exploding. I would say minimum is what we think has happened.
That is so crazy that
Mm.
what we've seen, like in 3 years, we'll probably be here. 1 month
Yeah,
later, we're already there.
yeah.
And one thing I'm guessing many of the viewers would like to hear, like Dell Technologies is a huge company. You're an
Mhm.
IT-centric company. How did you handle this? And like, because how many are you?
Yeah, we're close to 160,000 people around the globe, so pretty big. And the interesting thing is I would say not really the size or anything like that. It's more about that we we kicked it off this situation 10 years ago. And people are asking me, what do you mean by that? Did you foresee anything of this? Of course not. But we did internal surveys about our employees like 10 years ago, and then we got the feedback that people didn't have the perfect work-life balance. And therefore, we started this like a decade ago and get people equipped to move remotely and have sometimes also people only working remotely. So what happened for us was that when it became very severe, the situation, we moved almost 130,000 people in 1 week from the offices and around the globe to the kitchens, to the sofas, to the living rooms, like all of you that are listening in today also experienced. It was not that complicated from a technology perspective, but we can come back to it. There's other things we have experienced
Yeah,
about it, but yeah.
but that's a huge move. Like
Mm.
I think we did a huge move, but we're 1,500 people. It's a bit of a difference.
Yeah. No, but like I
But
said, it's not about the size. I think the complexity is equally, Gordon, no matter what size of company you represent, it's still a huge culture thing of change, I would say. So all respect for all company sizes here.
so we've talked a bit before this, and you mentioned something that really hit me as a way of describing. You said the words remote light. Like
Mhm.
this is the light version, because everyone has been thrown away, like out of the office, work from home.
Mm.
But that's just like to have the technology infrastructure to get that to work is
Mhm.
just a first step, so to speak. And if you fix that so everyone can work from home, and maybe that's not super different, as you said, from a big or small company, but what else is there? Like, because that's just one thing. Here's a laptop and you can reach our documents. What
Mm.
more is there to actually working fully remotely?
Yeah. I think when I talk to customers and partners around, is that like you said, we call it remote light. It's very much to just equip someone with a notebook, and then you have your cell phone or mobile, and then you're on. Uh, what we see is happening is really from 2 points of view. One is for the people itself to really, the responsibility as an employer doesn't change or doesn't stop when you're moving from the office to your home. You have the same type of responsibility for the people. So that's a little bit where we spend a lot of time today about our employees. How do they feel? Are they motivated? Can they be as productive? And are they happy with the equipment they have? Because we also see that organizations are a little bit lagging behind on equipping them with like displays, dockings,
Yeah.
peripherals, cameras, and that's just the hardware side of it. But it's sometimes easy to neglect that part, and that means that if you're used to work for like a dual display solution in your office, and then you're sitting on a 13-inch notebook on the kitchen table, it's completely different work experience. So many CIOs I talk to are concerned about, are they able to provide the same type of happiness for the employees? Are they happy with this, as one thing? And then I think the second one that we are expecting is also like, infrastructure part of this. We experience that you are now suddenly sharing your internet connection with your kids. They look at a movie from Netflix at the same time that you are working, and you got blurry connections. All of those practical things, and you are also, like Zoom fatigue or whatever platform you're using, or Teams or Skype or whatever. It's so many things that is starting to drain the network and capacity and all of that thing. So I think you have to look into that, both hardware side, infrastructure, and then security.
But
It's
like, when you're talking about the infrastructure, like the home infrastructure almost, how would you see that companies should handle that? Because that's a very interesting question, because maybe not companies can buy new routers for their employees for their home offices, but maybe they should or not. Like, what thoughts do you have in that? And dual displays, all those things. Now,
Yeah,
now
no,
I'm going to the hardware part again.
yeah, you're going back to the gadgets, Gordon.
I'm
No,
gonna-
I think it's a very delicate question. I think there are many models cooking at the moment. We have companies that are planning to fund these type of things and equip the employees, and at the same time also do like surveys to see how many of you would like to stay here when this is, going back to semi-normal conditions. Because I'm not convinced, or as many customers also, that many people really don't want to come back, and they have, also an environment home that can give the same type of experience if they are equipped with a complete office home. So I think there are many different streams going on, Gordon, to make sure that people that would like to stay and can stay will be equipped somehow. How they do it is, of course, different, but there is, I think, a lot of discussions going on to make sure to build home offices with the same capacity as you have also in your
But
office.
you mentioned one thing there, also in the like things that happens, and that's the security part. Like,
Mm,
um, the security of my home network is probably not as good as the one where I am right now.
mm.
Things like that, how can that affect the company security? How have, for example, you at Dell, have you done anything about those parts, looking to secure the employees' networks and educating them how to be more secure at home, or what problems do we see there, and solutions, of course?
Mm. No, also very relevant, and I think we are using platforms, traditional VPN solutions that are
Mm.
pretty safe with multi authentication and stuff like that. So I think that's one element of it, and then training, like you said. But that said, it's still a challenge, because you're also spending time outside the network, and it's easy for people to really we talked about years ago also about shadow IT and these type
Yeah.
of things. Uh, that's also very high on CIOs' agendas right now. We don't want to go back there, and but I think that's a risk, because it's so easy for people, and if they have challenges to access applications within their network that they normally have for the day-to-day job, and they're sitting there at their homes, and wow, I need this application, I need this software, then you just swipe your card and download it if you have admin right on your systems. And that's a question that is concerning, when we also see the phishing attacks going up after COVID explosion with like 350% since early January.
Whoa, that's
It's
a huge number.
That's a
That's a
huge number, and
huge.
it's huge. And I also think the worry there is, as we all know, that's worked with IT and security, is a little bit that the effect of this we will not see, until midsummer. After, it will perhaps come later this autumn, in September, October, November, Christmas time frame, that people have been hacked. So I think you really, one thing we recommend is spend a bit more time when you have now the devices and people are working home. Try to think of the next big thing that will hit your company, because we're sure it will hit. It's just about when.
So is that like where most companies, as we've said, have been able to move their employees to work remotely now,
Mm-hmm.
uh, but not all companies have done the extra check on security. Is that Am I reading it right now? And that's what they should focus on right now?
Yeah, it would be wrong of me to say that it's not happening because, of course, people are concerned about it. But I think spend a little bit more time than you perhaps normally do on looking into this, because I think people and employees have a bit more time and access to things that's more easy when you're sitting at home versus inside your firewalls in that sense.
Oh yeah.
So I absolutely will not say that they are not doing it. It's more about that spend a little bit more time instead of looking at the next cool notebook, for example, or so on. That's
And that's
also
coming
cool.
from the client solution
Yeah,
director
yeah.
at Dell
Because
Technologies.
yeah, I know, Gordon, but I think for me it's a combination of everything because you need to have the data because that's the only thing
Yeah.
we have. And that's the scary element of all of this. It's not really to lose the notebook on the bus on your way home. It's more about lose the data and you are out of business. That's the main concern at the moment.
So that there is like if you choose one thing, that's probably where people should focus a bit more energy than they usually do right now.
Yes,
Like that's the
absolutely.
next step after moving people home is okay,
Yeah,
do one more check here. Could we
yeah.
see if we move even further, what's the step there? Going back to maybe the soft values, how people
Mm.
feel at home, or do you have any other like what issues?
Yeah, I think the opportunities is really big for all of us in this streaming here is to also think about how can we together help everyone to consume IT differently by the same type of experience as you have on your mobile phone, Gordon, because you can sit there in the studio. It's very easy for you to download an app. You get access to everything. We we need to team up together here and provide that experience also when you're working remotely, like unified workspace, we call it, our partnership with VMware, Workspace ONE, these type of things with provisioning management tools, remote access, because it's not so easy to pop by the IT department anymore to get help.
No.
It's almost impossible. Everything is remote. So you need to figure out how you can give that experience from a consumption model and mix that with the hardware in a safe cage. Then you have all three elements together. That's the technology part. And then the other one I would say, Gordon, is to your point also, spend also very much time on your great team members home. Really care about how they feel, listen to them. Are they happy with the technology and capacity and so on? Because otherwise you will lose them. That's our experience right now. It can happen.
And
So
losing them, that's moving over to shadow IT and things like that, or
yeah, and also to find another place to work. A little bit that
oh
we
yeah,
talked about 3
that's
years ago. Also, that you need to be an attractive employer, and if people don't feel that they can get the max out of their capacity because they are blocked of technology, Gordon, then they
oh
will
yeah,
consider other.
that's the worst
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
For me, that's absolutely one of the worst things ever, and that seems also to be more and more true the younger you
yes,
get, the younger generation that has been like technology and smartphones have been part of their whole life.
yeah,
Then going to a
exactly.
company and not being able to be as free.
Yeah, no, agree. So
But how
so
can you support things like that in a good way? Or maybe you actually said all those things.
No, I think what we together can do is really listen and be eager to understand and not just try to provide technology or bring stuff to the people and really spend even more time. And we also see bigger teams working now with HR, security departments, office facility managers. It's a big more clustered of people involved in the whole experience instead of this is not longer an IT question, which is really exciting. So I must say that my experience after these very tough months for of course lots of reasons is that it's lots of opportunities around, Gordon, with what we can
Oh yeah.
do and also the world is very small right now. You can have, capacity and skills around the globe in a project that is also have been coming closer to us like before Corona. A very big difference that capacity is not the room, it's not the conference room, it's the globe. It's a Zoom call where we're bringing the
Yeah.
expert in the call. So really exciting times.
But like we are right now, it's all very new, but we are
Mm.
going. Time is moving forward. We will come to the future. What? How are we prepared for the next thing? And or is there a next thing, or is that 50 years away? Or like, what's your thought about that? And especially, how can you be prepared as a company to have a infrastructure and a way of working that really supports where
Mm.
we're headed?
Mm. No, also interesting thought that I think some of the advices that you can get if you also listen into our websites where we openly share a little bit more about how we have done from Dell is that when we are now entering this normal phase, Gordon, I think instead of just looking ahead of the next cool thing to roll out, think about where you are, what is really working, what are the things you're not happy with right now, and spend time with them, and then really look into like you said, because this will stay, and the offices will be completely different from that. Also for Dell, that we will most likely have a lot of people sitting home like this. But I would say that security would be my number one, Gordon.
Yeah.
Still,
So security is where you should focus for the future because this is not the
no.
last time we see something like this change. As going back to what we said in the absolute beginning of this, the digital transformation. We've talked about it so many years, and then
Mm.
suddenly it happened, with people being sadly almost left behind if they hadn't taken it seriously before. Like you said, you were already moving to remote working like 10 years ago. So you
Mm.
were prepared. Not everyone was. And now we're talking about security. We don't want people to we don't want the same thing to happen once again. That where we
No.
just talk about security for 3 years, 5 years, and
Yeah.
then something happened that makes it like, oh, whoa.
Mm.
Like people need to start to build up as soon as they hear what they need to build up, and go through, like also their own company, their own IT infrastructure, take a look at it. What do they need to keep up? I would say.
Mm. Yes. No, I agree. Agree.
But that's around those questions I had for you today about this, except for one more,
Mm.
and that is infrastructure, because we left it quite early in the
Mm.
beginning here,
Mm.
because we talked a bit about most people are working remotely right now.
Mm.
But I know that some people actually still struggles there.
Mm.
Do you have any tips for right now? Because we talked about the future. Like, what
Mm.
do you need to focus and fix to make people actually be able to work remotely in a good way? And
Yeah.
what can you, as Dell Technologies, provide? There is also a link down here somewhere on screen. I don't know if it's here or here,
Mm.
where I know the viewers could go if they need help with their remote infrastructure and are feeling like, okay, maybe we're not as secure as we want, then they can go to this link and fill out the form to get help with that. And then the question, what are
Yeah.
your tips and
No,
tricks?
so what we can do to help you out there is to work with you from the IT side, look into like networking, server storage, these type of things when you're looking into how you shall store data and these type of things that will grow even if you work from home. And then also like, like personas assessment or workforce assessments about really what type of users do you have, and really look into them so they get the right devices in that sense. Because of course we shall not just ignore the devices, and it's not just that we want to push out the devices, but if you're working as an architect today and you don't have a mobile workstation that is powerful enough and you are equipped with a standard notebook, you can't work. And then we go back again to the satisfaction, productivity, experience. That person will not be happy. So I think it will still be a period of time where you need to upgrade your technology to get the right baseline level for productivity and experience. I think that's something we of course need to look into. And then also look into the ecosystem of peripherals and things, so, like we said, with the right cameras and speakers and stuff. But that's the baseline.
Yeah,
And then I think
exactly. That's the remote light part.
that's the remote light. The other one is back again to the consumption of, to see how can we help IT departments make sure that they can provision technology from centrally through the cloud to the living room and be sure that it's safe, manageable, controllable, and productive, and that type of things. That comes with like the managed deployment in that sense. And then at the end of it would be really again to wrap it up in a safe way from safe ID, safe data, and safe hardware stuff. So I think so. No matter where you are, how long you have come, connect, and then we can listen in to see where you are and where you're heading. Because there is not everyone is looking for one answer, Gordon. There is not one answer because we are so many different cool companies and workloads in this call today, and everyone have their needs. So I think make it as personal you can, because then you will have happy users out there.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about your example there with architects and the workstations, because yeah, I know a couple of them, and they have stationary computers, desktop computers, not laptops.
No, exactly.
I hadn't even thought about that. That is a big problem, and they use a lot of screen real estate as well.
Yeah, exactly. And they need to have that. And then they can have different solutions. Either they can have a remote solution to still work from your summer house, but you can work and access power somewhere. That can be one way. So again, open up where you're heading and where you need support. And then we have the conversation to what we potentially could do to help you.
That's very good. Do you have any last things to add? Otherwise, we will wrap this up and let people go to this link here or here.
No, I would just thank you, Gordon, for this, and it's very bright times ahead. Even if we're feeling a bit, we would like to have midsummer now, of course, and celebrate with our whatever we could. But look, the future is bright, and it's a lot of opportunities down there. So let's really grab that opportunity and transparently share frustrations and things you need help with, and we figure something out. I would say, Gordon.
That seems wonderful, and I do agree with you. It's hard times right now, but there's a lot of good things coming as well.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mats, for joining us in this talk, and everyone, thank you so much for listening. Visit the link below or on the next. You'll see it soon as well. If you want to know more and get help to set up a good infrastructure for remote work for both now and the future, and a secure way of working remotely. Thank you very much for watching.